All right, we're back. I'm just loading into Planet Zoo now, so hopefully we can show you around and I'll do a little bit of building to wind down. I'm still very up a height. Thank you, Nikki. I'm still so tense. But get some water to calm myself down. Right, okay. So, this week, the vote was cast and everyone kind of chipped in. And we are expanding with a new wetlands build today. It's going to be a bit different though, because we're not doing a South American themed build. We're actually going to be doing an Australia and Oceanic build. And it's another multi-species habitat, which I'm really looking forward to doing. And I've started quite a bit of it. I'm just going to clear some UI stuff here, and then I'll show you how we're getting on. But yeah, it's a very exciting time, actually. I'm looking forward to releasing this one. There's been a lot of work put into it already, and I think I've got the basics put down. Um, yeah, it was 100% wetlands for quite a while, and I'm quite glad it ended up being wetlands because I'm not quite ready to go back to the campsite yet. I've not really planned out what that's going to look like, so I'm quite glad that it's wetlands expansion time. So that's good, and it's nice to get back and build some habitat stuff. So I think that's good. I'm gonna use the new overlay so you see a little bit more of the build. So we're over here, and you can already see there's some stuff being put in place. So you might remember in the background of some of the other stuff, I've been building this little area here that goes down into the lower areas of our wetlands area. And all of this has been put in place so far. The basic rock work has been done. Obviously, it's going to need expanding on. And in this habitat, we have koalas. We have the southern cassowary. And somewhere around here, there are emus. Platypus and an emu going for a swim as well. So this is our multi-species Australia habitat. And it's basically got this really nice area that people can explore all the way around. They can then see down into this floating area here. They can see in here and they can see over here. And then the underwater viewing kind of gallery is going to be down here where they can see the platypuses diving around and having a little bit of a swim. So, lots going in here, and they all get they can all be in the habitat together. It's a good compatibility rating. I don't think any of them get enrichment from it, although I think the emu and the koala might. I've not double checked the Zoopedia for that. So the last thing I did was I put in some fences going around here and then had these little, really cool little Australia sun-like shades. And the fence is pretty basic. It's, again, using some of the Australia stuff, and a fence has actually been sunk into that, and then it's been framed with the metalwork instead. Now, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to build today, but what I would like is the koalas. I'd really like to have them have like a climbing frame that goes over that viewing area so that they're able to kind of like climb all the way across, or have something that the guests can look up and see the koalas right above them. So for that, what we'll need to do is do a little bit more decor work. But what I think I'm going to do first is finish off some... You know what? No, you guys don't need to see more rock work. We do this every time I play. So we're going to design that koala area now. So if I go into my habitat and we have a look at the filters and filter it by our koala, which we haven't actually done a lot of research for yet. So we may be lacking a few things for them. But let's just have a look at what we've got that's climbable. So we can put in these metal climbing frames. I don't really want to use metal. I'd rather have actual nature. So let's go into nature, and we want to get our koalas a second here. And environment, we want Oceania and tropical. And all I want to do is find some really nice tall trees that they're going to be able to climb up. And then we'll maybe link them with some rope. I think they can climb along rope, so that could help us out there. So again, we can use coconut palms, which give us a really nice little bit of coverage. So I think stringing a few coconut palms together would be a good shout. The mangroves we are going to bring in, and we're going to use them on the other side because the platypus tend to thrive in mangrove forests, so they're going to be used as well. Corkwood trees are a little bit too stumpy for what we're looking for here, so I think it's all about the... Let's just put the tree filter on here. See if there's anything else that jumps out. Foxtail palms might be a nice one to use, actually. They could be a good one. Kentai palms. See, a lot of the stuff here, new foliage I've never used before, so this is exciting. And it gives me a nice chance to bring further stuff into it. The Kentai palms look really nice. So what are we going to do? We'll try foxtails first. So put a couple of foxtail palms in. Maybe these really nice, like, little branching out ones here. And this will just let the koalas come up real nice and close to our guests. And then we'll have some coconut palms over on this side. Maybe one big one there. Leaning over. And then we can try and find a way to link it all up so that the koalas are able to climb them. What I do need to do, though, is just double check that our koalas can actually climb up them. So they can climb up that one. It doesn't look like they can climb up this for some reason. Let's just move it along a little bit and see if that suddenly makes them climbable. No. So they can't climb up that foxtail palm. Can they? Do they climb up here? Doesn't look like they can climb up the coconut palm here either. Let's just... that might be to do with the fact that it's not flush with the ground. So let's just try and put that in there. No, they still can't climb up it. Hello, Gaming Realm. Welcome back. Okay, so we know they can climb up this one. So maybe we just put a few more of these ones in to just bulk it out. And now what we need is some sort of area for them to climb across. So we'll go back into our construction tab. We want to make sure that we've got this filtered by the correct content pack, which is going to be the Australia pack, because I only really want to use them. We're then going to pop down some 4-meter logs here. Now, the important thing here is that we make these, we toggle the climbability of this off. We don't want them to be able to climb on that because they'll then be able to come down and be in amongst our guests, which we don't really want. But what we could do is we could then put on a couple of smaller climbable pieces. But for now, let's go to our rope. And we want to get a nice rope line going all the way across here. Not the bunting ropes. We want the... where are you? Now, we could use the North African rope because I think they look really cool. They've got a nice design on them. But the curved Planet Zoo ropes tend to be the ones that are best used. So we'll just rotate that in. There. And then we'll try and bring it out a touch to here. You might be right, Nikki. Hello, Mortagon. Welcome to the stream. I'll double check that in a second. Right, so we need to try and get this rope to link up with the tree that's here. So if I just move this a touch across, I'm just eyeballing this here. This might not... Maybe if we have it come to here. Wow, that's on a weird angle, isn't it? Right, that's a bit better. That's slightly straighter on a better angle. Okay, so we know this comes out into the habitat. Now, what would be ideal is if we just have this tree working, because the rope goes right to that. But obviously now the log is sticking out into the... If we can just move that in there. There we go. That's better. And then find our koala again. Click on you. Hit play. Hopefully it'll repopulate. Ah! Nikki, you were right. The koalas do, in fact, have the ability to climb up that. Now, my next thought then is, how do we then get them across? Because I want to get them directly all the way across here. And then have them be able to go directly across our guests and get onto this side of the habitat. So what we'll need to do is we're going to duplicate this tree because we now know that it's climbable. We're going to put that here. Hit play again. That should then... Suddenly that tree is now climbable. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. And then over here, what we can do is actually, rather than using this log, what we'll do is we'll duplicate it. But instead of duplicating the log itself, we'll go back to our Australia pack. We'll bring in the 2-meter log, put that one down. And then we'll remove this log. We'll toggle the climbability of that one off, then duplicate it, bring it up, and then we'll make this one climbable. So, hopefully, that will mean our koalas will be able to come across here, climb onto this log. They won't climb down because it's been toggled off on that one. And then they should be able to branch across here without being disturbed by our guests. So obviously this is actually inside the habitat, so it's not too much of an issue. They'll be able to like walk in here freely and not be harmed or do any harm to our animals, so that's good. I'm not actually sure if the koalas are like able to be in a walk-through habitat, so that's something that I need to be aware of. Now we've got another rope going across here, but I want to try and oh, that's why it wasn't working in that way. It's rotating it in a weird... There we go. Right, now if we rotate this and then move it across, they will then hopefully be able to climb directly across to there. Or what we could do is change this into a straight rope. And then, if we can just grab this again and just move it all the way across, we can potentially just have that on top of the shade. Or we could change this to I think we need to change this to a different type of wood, unless we can make our koalas get across to this. I don't think this is a climbable asset. No, they can't actually climb on that. Oh, you can make walkthrough habitats for koalas. Oh, that's good. Right. Well, that makes my life a lot easier because it means I can make a few adjustments here and there to get it working a little bit better. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of this canopy. We don't need that one in. In fact, let me just quickly undo that, and then I'll delete that one. And then what we can do is we can just grab these and move them over to here. And we'll use this rather than having a canopy up there. And what we can do, we can make a custom canopy. It's not too much of an issue. Well, that definitely helps. Thank you for letting me know about the ability to make a walkthrough habitat for koalas, because I didn't actually know. I forget to pay attention to what can and can't be a walkthrough habitat. Obviously, the obvious ones, you know, the lions. And I think if I can find a different rope here, what I'd like to do is create some that are kind of... Is there a straighter rope that we can use to run across here? Or just like some sort of post instead? That's going to be a better idea. Let's have a look at our Australia pack again. Like this decorative log. So it's sticking out a bit there. Is it sticking out a bit on this side as well? Yeah, okay, so that's good. That will do us fine. And I think what I might do is delete that. And then we'll bring another one of these in here. There. And then if we rotate this a bit, hopefully it will reach all the way across. Yeah, it's going to make it. Good, good, good. And then just a slight rotation without the angle snapping brings us to here. Oh, what did petting an emu feel like? Because I thought they'd be quite, like, soft. Now, obviously, this sticks out a little bit more than I would like it to, so that's not too much of a problem. Oh, really? Yeah, I would not have expected that from an emu. I thought they would have been a bit softer. Anyway, next up we'll grab this, then we'll snap it to, rotate it around, rotate it down. We'll have it come across there, then back out towards us. And then we can move this tree a little bit further in. To here. We'll have to do a little bit of touching up there as well. Oh, well, I hope you get to take your kids to Chester Zoo very soon. I've never been to Chester Zoo, actually. I've been to a couple. Where have I can't remember what zoos I haven't been to be honest. South Lakes Safari Zoo I've been to. That one has had a lot of controversy over the years. I think it's got new ownership now, and they've done a very good job of it. It's the same people that own Bristol Zoo now, but you might remember a few very nasty, unfortunate incidents happened at that zoo a long time ago. So thankfully now, though, it's gotten a much better reputation. But yeah, it was very it wasn't a very nice time. They probably could have done a Tiger King documentary on how bad it was at the time, but yeah. I think a lot of the zoos in Europe are a lot bigger and more impressive than UK zoos. I see a lot of pictures and stuff of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, the zoos in the UK are fantastic as well. Got a bit of jankiness there, a bit of lag. I hope that's not the shape of things to come. We've already saved the zoo once. I don't really want to have to do it again. Right, so I think that works as our little kind of walk-through overhang type thing. So let's just make sure our koalas can actually use it. Okay, so this isn't a climbable thing, unfortunately, which means we're probably going to have to find another item they can use to go across it. Well, if that's the case, let's just go with the basic barrier stuff instead then. The actual habitat things. So we'll use these climbable logs. So take these out, which is a shame because I would have liked to have used these, but it does mean I can get a little bit more control over what we actually use to put in here. So we'll use these 2 meter thin logs, or maybe a 4 meter thin one. Yeah. Or we could use a thicker one, I suppose. Then that's going to allow us to attach something to it. Yeah, Liam ain't feeling enriched right now. I promise I'll help him soon. I've got more important things to do. I can actually do that, Pandy. And maybe I will do that. But I might do that in my edit because yeah, I think it might be a tough one to kind of get right. And as well, what I have noticed after I did that capuchin monkey habitat, when they are climbing, where I've actually hidden in some of the climbable ones, when you when they use it, the animation looks really weird, like they clip through the Liam will remember that. So, yeah, they clip through the like the facade, and it looks a bit strange. So the capuchins will climb up the climbable asset, but then they clip through, and it looks very odd. You only get like half the animation and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one to work out the pros and cons in. It takes a lot of like micro adjustments and stuff. I think you kind of have to wait until they're actually doing the animation and then adjust it to fit. So it can be quite difficult to get it perfect. Right, that'll do. And then we'll just grab this one and... Oh, why? Come on, game. The axes are all off today for some strange reason. I don't know what's going on. So can we get a 1 meter climbable log to go in here? And then I'll put another one on there. And then another one there. And another one there. And then is this now going to let me adjust it? Yes, thank you. Thank you, game. I appreciate your cooperation. But of course, it's all just a little bit off. There. Right. Now, we'll try this again, shall we? Liam. He's off for a swim. Okay, so now they have this fully climbable little thing there. And just... oh, where are you? Where's Liam gone? That cassowary's just like floated over there. Right, let's have a look. They have plenty of climbable stuff. So if I just toggle the climbable off on that foxtail palm, does that still give him enough room? Yes, it does. Okay, great. So now we have our basic kind of climbing stuff in there. We can start working on some other things. So what should we do next? We have this area here. Just trying to think what would be best to do. We could start working on the underwater area now. I think that's going to be the next phase for us, really. So, unfortunately, all of my lovely animals are about to get boxed up because I need to remove the water. Right then. So you can see here, we've got a lot of rock. Good question, Pandy. I haven't checked that out yet. We will check it out, though. So you can see the interior rock design is very, very all over the place, shall we say. Whereas the exterior, which is what's already been done, is a little bit neater. So we'll start by plotting in all of this rock work in here. Yeah, I think he was really enjoying that swim as well. Poor Liam. I'm sorry, mate. I swear when I get everything done, he's going to have a perfect time in his new enclosure. So we'll come in with our rocks, and I want to try and mix this up a little bit. So I want to use some of the faux rocks as well, but it's important first to get a little bit more of a baseline on what we're looking for here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start building this up. I said I wasn't going to do rock work, but here we are, doing rock work. I've got my random rotation on. No wonder things are looking a little bit weird today. But actually having random rotation on is really good because it helps a lot. And it's certainly helped me a lot in fine-tuning some of the rock work in this. So if you are kind of struggling with that side of the game, I would definitely advise just turning your random rotation on. It'll really help you differentiate with rocks and have them look a little bit less samey when you're building with them. So as you can already see, we've had a couple of adjustments and stuff underwater. We've got some nice little cave systems where our platypuses are going to be able to kind of move around with ease and have some nice like underwater montages going on in there. So that's going to be fun to decorate. And slightly awkward on the camera angles, but we'll give that a go. I think that might be the thing that I do here, because it's going to help me keep my focus on what can sometimes be a frustrating aspect of building in the game. And then we'll come in with a slightly larger rock here to go down into the water itself. And obviously, as you can see, every time we place it in, it rotates, and we get a nice different orientation on the rock. And all I want to do is try and level off this entire structure here, so that we've got plenty more to work with and a little bit more space and a better understanding of where things are going to end. And yeah, lots to kind of think about. And then we'll come round to this area. I'm just going to grab another rock, a slightly different shape, and again, sink it into the ground. Just pull it out a little bit. Here. Rockwork is indeed the backbone of Planet Zoo, Pandy. You are correct. I love rockwork. It can just be very tedious. But when you get in the zone of doing it, it's just like, yeah, okay, this goes here, then we push this down a little bit and just move this, slight rotations and things. And it can be a lot quicker as a process. But yeah, it does take up quite a bit of time. I think I spend most of my time building in Planet Zoo doing rock work. It takes so long to get it right and get it all like put into place so that it's looking pretty. And now you can see if we just go under. Oh god, where am I? Yeah, this is where I want to be. If we go down into here, god, we can then come in with the same larger rocks, or should we use something a bit different? That's a bit too big. That one's too big as well. This'll do. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. This is the ugly phase. We're right in it now, and that's exactly what I used to do. I used to look at like some of the bigger Planet Zoo creators on YouTube and be like, how come they've got it so perfect like that straight away? Then I realized they just don't show you it, which is why I show it. The ugly phase is really important as well because it gives your builds that structure. And then you can start working out those finer details. But yeah, learn to appreciate the ugly phase of a build because that's the most important step in Planet Zoo. I think so anyway. It's like the ugly duckling, you know, the Hans Christian Andersen tale. It was like, get out of town, and then he turned into a beautiful swan. And that's what building in Planet Zoo is. Taking your ugly duckling build and turning it into a beautiful swan. We can put that quote on a mug. Right, this rock is out of place there. I don't like that. So we'll come back in with some smaller rocks. And we'll... Yeah, exactly. A lot of the more experienced builders, they'll take hours and hours and hours I do the same. It can take me between, like, I don't know, at any point it's like 5, 6, maybe 7 hours to do a build. And then we cut out all of these bits usually because we don't like people to see them, because it doesn't bring much entertainment value. But I think it's worth showing it because you do see the process and how it all kind of comes together. I really like to show my builds when they're bare bones and show off these. They've taken up a lot less time in the videos lately because everything's getting a little bit more elaborate, and I'm pushing the boundaries with what my creative capacity is with builds. That's why the last couple of episodes have taken up two parts, because things have just taken so much longer to complete. But I do think it's always important as a creator to show every single aspect in some way, shape, or form. So that's why I leave in my garish parts of a design sometimes. And sometimes I just plain forget to cover them up. Yeah, I like building on stream. I've grown very fond of it because it's very easy in Planet Zoo. And that's why I decided tonight to actually do this. It's very easy when you're in Planet Zoo to get really bogged down in the tedium of these really intricate parts of the design process. And you just kind of think, I'm going to take a break and come back to this. But that's the reason why you end up not finishing a build, because you're constantly taking breaks and coming back to it. So I'm growing very fond of streaming Planet Zoo, which I hadn't expected to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. There's a lot to be said for the creative aspect of YouTube, in that, like, a lot of people see a half-hour video and think, wow, half an hour? You must have done that in like an hour. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I build incredibly slow. It's why, actually, I'll be honest. The most recent video on Arcadia, I really wanted to design my own tables and stuff to go in the build, and I just ran out of time. So that was why I decided to eventually go down the workshop route and find something that had already been done, because when you're thinking to do these things, you don't realize how long it takes until you're doing it. And if it doesn't go right, that's when things start to go pear-shaped for you and you start giving up on a build. So if you are struggling, use the workshop. There's some amazing stuff on there. I linked the 3 that I used last time because they're incredibly detailed stuff. I'm glad you're enjoying it too, Georgia, because it's a lot of fun, and it does help keep me focused on the build. And to be honest, I'm not sure how much of the underground building sections I'm going to show in the speed build, because the camera angles are so weird and a little bit off-putting, especially if you kind of have any sort of, I don't know, I think a lot of people, especially in a speed build, if you've got any sort of like sensory overload issues and stuff like I do, and somebody's zipping around all over a map and then going up and down and then accidentally going through terrain and things, it can be very, very off-putting, shall we say. And I think some people are really put off by speed builds in general as well. I do have a couple of subscribers who have said, I'd really like to see you do something a little bit more live, because speed builds don't work for me. I find it very difficult to stay focused on them and things. And yeah, so they like to see how things unfold in a little bit more of a natural setting. So mixing it up and doing a bit of both, some on live stream and some as the finished video, I think is a really good way to kind of produce the sort of stuff. Do you know what? So much of my time I have spent trying to create things like guest overhanging barriers and stuff where guests can get some shelter as well. And I've just given up on them because oh God. There's a real frustration in this game sometimes, but I think it's a community-wide frustration because, my God, some stuff is just not worth the effort. But they're just coming together really nice, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab my terrain paintbrush and I'm going to paint what's left of the underside here. Heavy soil maybe, or should we go rough rock? Yeah, rough rock painting here is going to work for us, and we'll just get it kind of tidied up a little bit there so that it blends in nicely with the rest of the underside thing there, and a bit of soil going in. And obviously we'll be putting some like underwater foliage and stuff in there, and then yeah, all good. So this is looking pretty good now. And then we just come in again with our rocks and add in some more finishing touches on here. If I go random rotation all, what we'll get is complete rotations of stuff. So if we take this tropical rock, for example, which has a little bit more of a dimension to it, we can then, oh God, we've got the High School Musical crowd coming in. Together, forever, come on, let's have some fun. Together, forever, everyone. Something like that. I can't remember how it goes. I'll get demonetized for singing High School Musical now. Copyright strike me, I dare you. It was so bad. We certainly do, Diz. Rockwork back in force. I need something bigger. Nope, that's too big. I need the largest rock you have. I honestly, that's all I remember, Nikki. I don't remember any else of it. I don't actually think I've ever seen High School Musical. I just know the songs. I remember when I did my drama A-level, we went on a trip to New York, and we had to get a coach down to like London Heathrow. And my A-level drama class was kind of like a bit of everything. So we had the goths, we had myself. I was a bit of an emo kid at the time, I think. Kind of coming off the back of an emo phase, I suppose. And then we had the true performing arts kids who blasted the entire High School Musical soundtrack on repeat for the entire journey all the way down to London from Newcastle. I still have my moments, Pandy. I still have my moments. Every now and then, I will definitely be putting the tunes on. We'll be having some emo music blaring in my flat somewhere. And my girlfriend's taken to asking me about my emo phase and being like, "So what were the type of girls you went for when you were an emo kid?" And she's like, "They were nothing like me." And I'm like, "Oh no!" And then she'll like find them and be like, "Were these the types of girls that you went for?" And I'm like, "Oh God," she mocks me so much when we're talking about it. But then she was a little indie chick as well, so I get to have my own back at some point as well. No, Nikki, I've never seen High School Musical. Heard the soundtrack pretty much all the way through several times and had the mental torture of having to listen to that. Same with like Glee. I've never actually watched Glee either. And again, I know quite a few of the songs and I've seen quite a few of the renditions, which are really good. But yeah, I've never watched High School Musical all the way through. Yeah. which is a shame. But I really enjoyed. Oh God, yeah. I can tell Diz that yeah, I can understand that. I tell you what is worth a watch if you like the musical stuff and you've not seen it would be Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which was Rachel Bloom, who was I think in the she was in another musical comedy show not too long years and years ago. Hey Diz, I have a lot of mates who were in the same boat as you and they didn't. But you know, it all changes. It all changes. Yeah, I remember the scene girls with the puffed up hair, the thick black eyeliner and stuff. Yeah, that was it. That was it. Going through my own. I actually what's going on here? Our striped skunks are hungry. We can ignore that for now. Um, I revisited my old MySpace page quite a while ago, and I was like, I was so horrified I had to delete it. Honestly, it's really funny because now you've got that generation where people have no idea what MySpace was because of how it's changed over the years, and you're like, my God, just the culture of it all was crazy, honestly crazy, and like what we did. I'm like, what is this all about? But it really was such an interesting and weird subculture. But also, when you think back now, it was pretty contentious at the same time, really. Like, a lot of emo bands would be singing about the girl that they 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 felt that they deserved and all of that sort of stuff, and like the friend zone idea of it all, and it's all very much like, oh God, when you listen to some emo songs now, you're like, this has not aged well. Um, I don't even know what emo bands are still there now. Oh my God, the top five friends list. Oh, Pandy. Yeah, that was some major drama. And then remember when everyone started playing around with custom HTML and doing their own like profile designs and stuff? What a wild time that was. I don't remember Mix It. Everything was in pink. Oh my God. I remember like Bebo. I remember MySpace very well. I remember like the early days of Facebook. I remember the early days of YouTube when it was all like weird. And I also remember when like Amazon only sold books. Remember that? When Amazon was just like an online bookshop. And what it's become now is like the corporate monster. Yes. Your profile picture song, the emo jump scare. It was like, long ago. Yeah, nothing worse than logging on to MySpace, going to someone's profile, and then having "I'm not okay" blaring in your face. But then MySpace caused a lot of controversy when they changed the whole platform, didn't they? For myself included, I actually had a MySpace profile that was dedicated to filming and recording local bands. So I did a lot of like hardcore punk bands and like thrash metal bands. I'd go to gigs and record them, and it was all about kind of like bringing these bands, like, you know, like giving them a platform because no one really did that. And then when MySpace changed the like front facing sort of stuff, that was it. I've got no access to that footage anymore, and some of it is the only way to find it would have been on that profile, and it's such a shame because the way that kind of my skills as a video and sound editor now have kind of changed over the years. I would have loved to have been able to go back to that footage and just redo it and put it on YouTube. Because at the time, I didn't realize YouTube was like, as you know, you never expect things to kind of become what they become. And I did not think YouTube was going to be the way to go. And the way that everyone communicated at the time was through MySpace. But yeah, oh God, Habbo Hotel and Club Penguin. Those were huge, weren't they? I don't remember being like very active on those things, but I do remember me and all my mates got obsessed with RuneScape when it first came out, because we could actually get it on our school computers. So whenever we had like IT or something, we'd be secretly having RuneScape open in another window. And then like, what else was there? There was Newgrounds. Does anyone remember that? It was like a home for Flash games and stuff. We're having a right old nostalgia trip here now, as the rock work goes on. Yeah, there was Newgrounds. I think that's where. I mean, you know has anyone seen the Stickman adventure games that kind of ended up making their way over to Steam and being really popular? They all originated in Newgrounds, and then there was it Pico's Playground, which was really gory. I mean, I don't think I ever played that, but yeah, absolute loads of stuff on Newgrounds. There was some really like janky stuff. And then I remember this football game that was like, there was a goal on either side, and you played as like it was like a half circle. And the idea was you just jump up and down and head the ball to your opponent. And you could play it 2 players, where one of you would sit on one end of the keyboard and someone else onto another one. Oh my God, WoW on your computers at school. Jeez. That's impressive. I remember when WoW first came out. I didn't play it on launch, but I had a few mates who were absolutely obsessed with it. And we were all about the age where, my secondary school, basically, when WoW came out, we were just getting to the year where we were trusted enough that we could leave the school to go and get our lunch off site. It was something that was kind of like reserved for sixth formers and stuff. And my mate would go home every day, have his lunch at home, and play like World of Warcraft for an hour, and then come back to school. I was like, "Where have you been?" Like, just playing some WoW. And I was like, "Oh." So yeah, school was crazy, man. Honestly, what a time. I don't think I don't know what it's like now. I don't think kids have the experience that we had at school when we were younger. I think it was a very unique, and because we're all part of that kind of like, I don't know how many of you are around about my age. Like I'm 33, so I kind of grew up just as the kind of like millennial age was coming to like full fruition. So whilst I wouldn't say that I was a pure millennial, because I think we're kind of somewhere in between 2 different ages, and it's so strange. Like we're the culture that didn't know the power that we had when the internet kind of started getting huge, I guess. And then all of those little subcultures that have come out since that, we've all kind of been part of and experienced and grown with, and it's very odd. I don't think any kids now that are kind of getting that are ever going to understand what we got. Yeah, absolutely. There we go. So we're all around about that same group, kind of the developing internet and the way that like the connectivity throughout the world kind of changed and stuff. And it's so like, it was such a unique thing to be part of. I'm very impressed that you managed to get WoW on school computers, though, Pandy. That is truly a feat. Oh, 45 motor guns. So you have again a totally different experience to what we even had. So it's all crazy. And I mean, really, if we look now at the kids these days, kids these days, totally different experience, because they're growing up in a culture where it's just acceptable now to have some sort of I don't know. I don't know what it's like now. Maybe when I get a job as a teacher, I'll experience it firsthand, and I'll be able to report back to everyone. And then obviously, Nikki, your kids are going to have a totally different experience as well, because it's a totally different generational thing there as well. So, oh yeah, absolutely, Pandy. I've watched some really interesting documentaries and stuff on YouTube lately. But yeah, seeing the stuff that people did in the past and got away with, and then what's kind of seeing it come about. Oh, I totally understand that, Nikki, but I think by the time your girls are kind of at an age where they're kind of getting, I think it will have kind of evened out. I think what's happened now is the internet has so much power and social media has so much power, but I think there's a tipping point about to come. I think that's going to come in the next few years. I mean, obviously, Pandy's just mentioned people getting cancelled and all sorts and all of that sort of thing. I think there's going to be a point where there has to be something. Something's got to give, and there's got to be some sort of change. And I think it'll start becoming a lot more of a safer space, I think, for people. But yeah, Mortagon, no computers. So yeah, I think it's a very, very interesting thing to kind of. Yeah, you're right, Pandy. We did get the most fun part of the internet, where it was kind of finding its feet and it was all coming to. We were kind of working out what it was, and now it's just got there's so much power behind the whole thing. It's all gotten into this very strange space now. Um, but I do think there's a tipping point. I think it's a very bad kind of thing. I mean, there's some good in it. I mean, I'm here, right? So there's some good to find in it. But I think, yeah, eventually people are kind of distancing themselves, like Pandy's just mentioned, from things, and I think the generation where kids are now going to start going out and playing football outside and things, or going out and having some experiences of reality in like a natural environment, I think is going to start happening again. And that whole idea of being an influencer when you grow up is going to go very quickly at some point. As quick as those fads come up, they do die, I think. And like Mortagon's just mentioned, AI is changing everything. So that's another thing to be slightly more fearful of. And I think because AI is changing everything so much, I think the influencer culture and stuff, and people having their face so easily captured and recognized, I think people are going to start wanting to reclaim a lot of their privacy and stuff now, because we've got that now. There's a little bit of a fear with how advanced AI is and how advanced things like deep fakes and stuff are. I think it's equal parts terrifying and fascinating. But I think people are going to want to start reclaiming their online identity as well. So, yep, share that away on the Discord, my man, and we'll take a look at that. So there's a lot of scope for the internet to continue developing, and as things kind of change and adapt, I think things are going to start evening out a little bit, and we're going to start seeing a little bit more of a safer culture. Me as an influencer with chat. Okay, so the rock work is slowly coming together. Have we been doing this an hour? Rockwork is looking much better now. We've kind of developed this first underground cave system, and then this underwater cave system has a lot of work to be done. But we've tidied up most of it. Obviously, this area here is going to need a little bit of work doing, and then this interior here. You're kind of seeing a lot of the underground and the underbelly that has yet to be developed. I've got a lot of work to do. But in fairness, once the rock work is fully developed, all that's left to do is do the foliage and put in a little bit of hard shelter. Now I'm going to have my hard shelter run along here. So this is going to be kind of like a little bit of a void, a vacuum chamber type situation where our keepers are going to be able to come in and then move into the next kind of area, which is going to be a little bit of a lean-to for all of our animals. And I'm hoping to have this finished. Fingers crossed this is done by tomorrow evening with all of the commentary as well. Because I don't want to run into another 2-week episode. I'd like to have this finished and then we move on. But I'm going to call it here so that I can get on with some other stuff and have some rest. I hope you enjoyed the stream, the 2 streams. We'll be back, hopefully back to normal. Oh, actually, no, not normal schedule next week because Monday is another bank holiday. Maybe we'll have a Cosy stream on Tuesday. But again, Man and Medan will continue on Thursday evening, and I'll try not to scare myself silly. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next stream, and I hope you enjoy this weekend's video. Also, I've got a little bit of an update, actually. Well, I'm going to show you something. Let me just quickly go into my just chatting a second. Let me stop my recordings, and we will quit Planet Zoo because I'm going to have a little break before I go into a little bit of a late night session. So before we finish, I'm going to show you. Now, you remember the little bit of a decorative stream that I did in 2 Point Campus? Thanks for hanging out, Mortagon. It'll be a longer Planet Zoo one next time I do it, I think, just because this was off the back of another stream. So hopefully we'll do a little bit more. So, do you remember the decorating stream that we did in 2 Point Campus for the Spring Community Challenge? That was all nice and designy stuff. Well, voting is almost closed. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on how things are going so far. Voting on that competition closes tomorrow at 5 p.m. It ends in 18 hours. I'm still winning. I've got 193,900 points in the voting, which means hopefully we're far enough ahead that we might not get caught. And I'll be getting some nice 2 Point Campus swag. But I wanted to show you the entries because there's some really cool ones. So the theme was springtime. We've got this wonderful chocolate bunny prison that I think was a really funny comedy touch. Melting those chocolate bunnies with a load of radiators. And then the next one is this. Oh, that's mine. So hopefully this will end up being the winning entry. I had a lot of fun doing this. The stream VOD is there if anybody does want to check it out. And then the next one is another really nice spring themed one. And I think they added in the archaeology course because that one is actually a little bit more of a dusty sand-based background. But they've got a lovely tulip field in the background for anyone from the Netherlands. And then the next one. This one was a lovely little design with Hello Spring on it. And yeah, I thought this one was a really cool one as well. Did go into a bit of Valentine's Day theme as well, which was really cool, but I like this one. And then this one's, I love this one. So the Orb Club is one of the clubs, and they've managed to capture someone worshipping it with like the Easter bunny in the background and surrounded by eggs. This is probably my second favorite one. I really like this, really comedy based touch there. But yeah, that's kind of all of the entries, and I'm currently still in the lead, which is really good. So fingers crossed by 5 p.m. tomorrow I'll be getting some contact from the 2 Point Campus devs and getting some nice 2 Point Campus swag. So that'll be cool, and maybe I'll do a little bit of an unboxing and we'll talk a little bit about that. So thank you all for watching, and I'll close the stream off now. I really appreciate you coming on, so I will see you all next time. Bye bye.